BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
This podcast may contain strong language and adult themes. Come on, it is me at the end of the day.
From BBC Sounds.
It's the Hayley Pierce Podcast.
Aye, it's Hayley here. I hope you've all had a fabulous week enjoying the sunshine. On today's show, it is the girls. I am joined by the lovely Sherelle and Tori. What's happening, ladies? Woo! Guess what I'm doing right now? This never happens. I'm usually sitting in a dressing gown doing this podcast, but I have got my lashes on. I've got a full contour going on. I'm proper glammed up on today's podcast.
Oh,
lush.
I am not looking glamorous, Hayley. I am in my dressing gown with a face full of Sudocreme, so it is not a safe comparison.
Girl, have you got some bad boys?
Yeah, I've got spots for like the first time in forever, but I think I'm due on my period, so that's probably what's happening.
Well, talking about periods, girl, we are actually going to touch upon that today. Periods is a bit of a taboo subject still to this day. Why is it that some people still cringe when they hear the word periods?
It's the Hayley Pierce Podcast.
I do think they're bringing men into the conversation as well and making them more comfortable and being more educated about the menstrual cycle will help. And maybe that will help more women feel comfortable as well.
Yeah, 100%. Can you imagine if you came on your period in school or in PE or something like that? It would be absolutely horrendous because the boys just, oh my God, they would just make fun. As soon as that time came around, it was the boys that would sort of make fun of you and be like, oh, you on your period?
Yeah.
Oh, you on the blob?
Yeah, on the blob, yeah. We can laugh about it now, but back in the day when you're in school and you're going through that change, that, you know, yeah, they're the things that you don't want to hear, especially from the
mortifying.
boys.
It's traumatizing. It's blinking horrible.
So, it's something we've all had for a while now, but do you still get cringed out about talking about them, or?
No, I actually don't. I used to feel really uncomfortable, especially when I was like, I would say in my late teens, sort of like early 20s. Like with my boyfriends and stuff, I would feel just really like almost dirty, you know, when I was on my period, which was bizarre, really. But no, now I'm at a place where I think, you know what, like, especially since I've had children, I just think, well, it's just part of like of being a woman, you know, and we have to have them.
Yeah.
And no, I don't anymore, but I did for a long time. I would feel really awkward, and you know, if I even go in to buy like tampons, I'd feel embarrassed and like,
oh my days.
Like, what?
It's funny you should say that, because I swear I don't know what it is. I've always been open enough to talk about my periods. I've been lucky. I've always been quite light, okay? You know, for maybe any male listeners, that means, you know, I don't have a heavy blood flow. But up until recently, I mean, not long ago, actually, a couple of years ago, I would say, I used to feel embarrassed about buying tampons. I don't know what it was about it. I just used to like hate picking them up and getting served, and that's mental, right?
It is. It's crazy. I'm the same. I was really embarrassed about my period and talking about it, having it when I was younger. But I think as you get older, you become more in tune with your body, accepting, you learn more about it, and you realise that no, periods aren't disgusting. I mean, half the world has them, so
yeah.
They can't be that bad, can they?
And when did you first know about periods? Like, how did you find out beforehand? Was it from your parents, or was it just from the girls in school, or was it from sex education in class?
I think, like, you're sort of aware of periods probably from like TV and things like that, watching like programs. Like there's a lot of like teenage programs on when you're growing up, isn't there? And I think they talk a little bit about it on there. And I probably had a couple of conversations with my mother. And yeah, I think we had like sort of set like a couple of sex ed lessons when you're 11, which were absolutely mortifying, but they would talk about periods and things then. So you're made aware of it, and it sort of surrounds you a little bit with your age and the type of things that you're watching.
What about you, Sherelle?
Do you know what? I can't even remember, to be honest. I think my mum would have told me about it, but I do remember starting my period, and I remember my mum was like kind of saying to me, right, Sherelle, like it's going to happen soon, because I think I was 14, so I was one of like the like it took me longer.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer as well.
A late bloomer.
Oh, girls.
Yeah, well, with me though, when I actually started my period, it was just me and my dad because my mum was in work. And I remember being like, Dad, it's happened. And my dad was like, oh my God. So he had to like take me to the shop, love him. And I came back with all these different products and I had no like idea. I didn't use a tampon actually until I was like in my 20s. I was too scared. Right. So I always used just period pads and yeah, I mean, it's even though you're like mentally prepared for it, it's still a bit of a shock when you look into your knickers and you're like, oh my God, there's blood.
Yeah, I know. You're only young, and at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
It's hard, especially in school. Like you said, you get boys picking on you. You're still a child. You're not a woman yet. You've got to go back and forth the toilet. Like you said, Sherelle, some people don't even know what products to use. You said you came back from the shop with so many stuff. Like some people don't know what's best for them at that age. How are you meant to know at that age, innit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I used like pads and panty liners, and then I think I started to use tampons because, of course, those are the best things to sort of stop you from leaking. I think I had a couple of leaking incidents. But then I stopped using tampons because they hurt. And I was concerned about, like, you know, you see all these newspaper articles about things like toxic shock.
Well, this is the thing. If you leave it in too long, and some people, you know, especially when you're newer starting tampons, if you forget, it can be quite dangerous. I mean, don't get me wrong, girls, as women and as teenagers growing up, you do have these fears and you hear them stories about tampons and stuff, but the toxic shock syndrome, I think, is very, very rare.
Yeah.
Oh my God, girls, have you used a menstrual cup?
No. It looks massive. I don't think I can get it up there.
I haven't. I'm a little bit apprehensive.
I was sweating my tits off putting it in. Honestly, you should have seen me putting it in. It took me forever. I was trying to whack it up there and get it in, and then trying to get it out was 10 times worse. Honestly, it was like a bloody workout. I was sweating. It was horrible. Now, apparently they're really easy to put in, so I don't know whether I was flapping too much and made it a lot worse, because apparently they're really good to use. They're amazing, but I had a bad experience, so I'll never go back to them. But
how does it work? You fold it up, do you? And then
you fold it up and it expands inside you. But try getting that up and then try getting it out. You got to put your fingers up there, full on feel for it, and then suck it back down. I'm sorry, I'd rather the tampon. That's what the string is there for, lovelies.
Yeah, I would be too scared. I wouldn't be able to get it back out. I
couldn't. But
it's not for me either.
Apparently, they are easy, so I don't know whether I'll ever give it a go again. I don't know. But yeah, try it, girls. Let me know your reviews.
I know quite a few people who use them and get on with them well. But yeah, like if you pull it out, surely the blood's just going to go everywhere and you'll just be covered in it.
Well, it was all over my bloody hands, put it that way. I didn't like it at all.
Dear Lord.
No. Exactly. Especially if you've got acrylics on. I've been told a lot better for the environment as well, because tampons is plastic in the actual material, really tiny microplastics. They get stuck. People flush them down the toilets as well. I used to be one of them. I don't anymore. This was only a couple of years ago I found out this, and when I told some of my friends, they were like, "You wore it?" I was like, "Well, I thought that's what everyone does." And not the plastic bit, obviously you don't bin that.
No.
But I'm on about the actual cotton bit as well.
I used to.
I actually use reusable pads now anyway. Yeah, so at first, I'm not going to lie, I was like, I don't know if I can deal with like putting this in the wash machine and like, is it going to be really gross? But because I'm so light, I bought like, they're really nice as well. They're like made with like bamboo and like organic cotton, and like they cost me like 20 quid for like 6 or something like that. But I haven't got to buy any, I don't have to buy pads anymore. Like that's just,
I actually tried the reusable ones. They wasn't for me, Sherelle.
No.
But they did come out, you're right. You think it's not going to come out clean, but they do, don't they?
Yeah, it really did. It was not as like, I really made it out in my head like it was going to be this disgusting thing. Yeah. I just put them in a wash on their own. They came out like as good as new.
That's amazing.
But do you think it would have helped us a lot more if you had chats like this when we were in school?
Yeah. And that's the problem, isn't it? The adults that we sort of look up to were just as, if not more, embarrassed about talking about periods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you've got to suck it up and start talking about it, because it's the only way that it's going to sort of destigmatize, isn't it? You know?
But the thing is, girls, you got to talk about stuff like this, because so many young girls out there, if they haven't got support of parents or loved ones or friends they can talk to, some people still feel embarrassed if they were to have one stuck up them or not know how long they had it inside them and then put another one up them. Like, it happens.
It does.
I think every woman or young girl will experience it, and no one talks about it enough, you know?
Oh,
no,
God.
that's right, I know.
Absolutely. And you just, you have so many, all of us, all women who have periods have these embarrassing experiences, every single one of us. I mean, I think I was on a public bus once and I leaked through my jeans on the bus.
Please don't tell me they were white.
No, they weren't. They weren't. They were denim, but because of the way I was sat, like normally if you have a little leak, it doesn't really show because it's sort of underneath, but because of the way I was sat, it was like right up my backside, and I had to walk home with, I had like a little vest top on underneath my jumper, and I took my jumper off and wrapped it around my waist and like walked home with like a big period smudge all up my back. And I think I was about 14, which is, horrendous.
But what's interesting is you could be 14 or you could be 30.
Oh, God, yeah.
We all still feel embarrassed if there's a little bit of blood on us, don't we? Like, no matter what age that you have that leak, if you do come through and you got a bit of blood on your clothes, like, it's still an embarrassing feeling in it. But why do we feel like that when it's just if you cut your arm and you bled through, and it went on your top, you don't get embarrassed then? So what is it about the blood flow coming out of the vagina?
Oh, do you know what? I don't know, but it's really bizarre, isn't it? Like, when you think about it, as Tori said earlier, half of the world's population have a period, so it shouldn't be something that we'd be embarrassed about. I just think private parts are just like this taboo like subject, and I just think when my daughter gets to an age where I can explain these things to her, I'm really gonna make a conscious effort to tell her that it's like no big deal, and like, do you know what I mean? Because it's really not, like, it's just a bit of blood from your vagina, it lasts a couple of days, that's it. Like, you just need to use your tampon or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I think I've heard loads of stories of my friends, they've like leaked on a bus, or they've done this, or they've like, had sex and they've woken up and they've, whatever. But I just think, what? It's a bit of bloody blood. That's all it is.
It is a bit of bloody blood. And I'm glad you said that, Sherelle, actually, about like teaching your daughter, because I think we probably come from a generation where our parents are from that, we don't talk about those things sort of generation. It's like, or just do it discreetly, or do this, do that.
Yeah.
And it's sort of it puts that fear and that shame into you then to think, oh no, it's dirty and gross and we don't talk about it. And I do think, it's a bodily function. So, it's very much like, we don't talk about those things. We just get on with it. We crack on with it. We don't have those discussions. Whereas I think we're completely different, and we want to try and address those issues because of the shame that we experience.
And I think for us girls, we can talk about it a lot easier to each other. But what about chatting about periods? Are you comfortable enough to talk, around men?
Yeah, I am. And if I was with somebody who was sort of, disgusted by it, then I think I would feel quite uncomfortable about that and just be a little bit like, come on now, I deal with your shitty pants on the floor. I think you can deal with a little bit of period.
Yeah.
I mean, God, my current partner now, one of the first dates we ever went on, I leaked through and I didn't tell him because it was, we just started dating, and I'd leaked through onto a bloody chair in a restaurant. I just sort of pretended it didn't happen and sort of walked away. It was so embarrassing.
A bit of tomato ketchup, that's it. Like.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. We'll just walk away from that chair.
I feel sorry for the person who sat on that next.
I know, isn't that so awful? I didn't tell anybody, I just ran. But like now, I've recently come off the mini pill. So when I was on the mini pill, I didn't have periods, but I'm off the mini pill now, and I leaked through on my first period because I didn't know when it was going to come through, and I was just walking around like, come on, my period, whatever, and he didn't really say, he just not bothered, it's just an expectation of being a woman, isn't it?
Yeah, like, obviously my partner's a lot more mature than me, as he's a lot older, so he's totally fine about it. I can tell him to run up the shop and get me tampons, but I've been with men in the past, and if you tell them to go and get you some tampons, they go all squeamish. I'm not going to the shop and getting you tampons, you mad or what? No. And it's just like, what? Please, like, do you know
sad.
What I mean?
It's so sad.
But some men still, cringe out about it and don't want to talk, but then I suppose that shows maturity or not, doesn't it?
It does,
I think so. I agree, yeah.
I actually only started the pill because of my period. So it was that feeling of being young, not knowing the cycle and stuff, not knowing when you're going to come on. And I just didn't ever want to be in a position of wearing a skirt, a dress or white jeans and coming through.
Yeah. But I've seen a lot of things recently on social media about tracking your cycle. And there's like lots of apps and things now. Sherelle, I don't know if you've seen these as well. There's like lots of apps and things now where you can like track your cycle, track your body temperature.
I use that to get pregnant.
There we go.
Yeah, because it tells you when you're ovulating, basically.
Right.
And that's what I did to get pregnant with my little boy.
See?
Yeah, do you find it mad that us women still don't understand our own cycles and stuff? Because like you said, you had to use an app. You know, I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue about the ovulation cycle. I don't want to know, but I mean, if I don't want to get pregnant, I should know, because I should be being careful on them days.
Yeah.
But I really don't, and we should know our body and our cycle, but not everyone does.
No.
What do you think we can do to normalise it then and make everyone feel more comfortable talking about periods? And I'm talking about males as well. I'm not being funny. We're gonna have to test our boys on this podcast. we gotta give them a quiz. What are you saying? I wonder if they'll know anything about it.
We might not know anything about it now. We might just be rubbish.
All right, then. All right, then, let's do a quiz, right? They're going to give you a quiz, right?
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
see. I mean, girls, we should know this. I mean, we should.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Sherelle, you've had babies, so you should know this. But what is ovulation?
So yeah, it's when the egg is released from your ovaries, and you can have a baby.
Okay, brilliant. And how often are these eggs released?
Once a month, is it?
Once a month, okay. Well, I've got an answer here that says ovulation usually occurs around 10 to 16 days before your period starts.
Interesting.
Okay, right. When will girls usually start their periods? Oh, this is a tricky one because everyone's different, isn't they?
Yeah. I think it's roughly around the age of 13, 14, but it can be much earlier, can't it? Like, I know some kids start when they're like 10.
Yeah, some do. You're right.
That's so bad.
It is young. It's like, no, let them be more. Let them live. Let them be a child for longer.
You're in primary school when you're 10, playing in the sand.
Oh, it's sad. It is sad. Exactly. They're too young, and but it happens, girls. What can you do with Mother Nature? It is what it is. Oh, right. Yeah. So it says it can usually start at the age of 12, but like we know, everyone is different.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So how long is your average menstrual cycle for?
3 to 5 days, 3 to 7 days.
Do you know what? I haven't got a clue. I would say I'm 2 days, so I would say, between 1 and 7 days.
Yeah.
It says here 28 days. What the hell? No chance. I'm confused.
No, that's your whole cycle, isn't it?
Okay, that's
What do
the
you mean?
whole
I'm lost.
Oh, we're not talking about menstrual. We're talking about the whole.
cycle rather than just your period. So
Well,
like
what does the cycle mean then?
That's just from your period to your next period, basically.
Ah, right. Yeah. 28 days. I would have known that because that's how many pills are in my packet.
Yes.
Sorry, we got confused on that one. Oh my God, if we are getting confused, can you imagine the boys?
I know.
Can you imagine if we asked Luke?
Oh, no.
Oh, we got to ask
We
Luke.
have to.
Girls, disclosure, you may or may not know, I've never actually had a period. So I'll do my very, very best. I'll try and represent the men the best I can. But if I get them wrong, my intention isn't to offend anyone, I assure you. Right then, let's go. Ooh, what is ovulation? Now, I think, is it when women produce eggs? Yeah, and it's kind of when a woman is kind of most likely to fall pregnant. When does ovulation happen? Is it halfway through the menstrual cycle? That's what I'd assume it would be. I'd imagine it's like a circle, isn't it? So when you're like at the top, you're at the end, and when you're at the bottom of the circle, you're kind of at your peak in terms of your ovulation. So I'd imagine it's halfway through your menstrual cycle. Can I name at least 2 sanitary products?
Well, obviously you've got tampons and pads. I guess they're kind of the most popular, I would say. But I also know there's menstrual cups that women can get too. I think there's a few different brands you can get, but I understand that these can be almost like an environmentally friendlier alternative.
When will girls usually start their periods? I really thought then the first of the month. It's not like paying your bills, Luke. It's not like, the first of the month it happens, but I know, like, when, at what age do they start? I guess when girls start puberty. So I don't know. And I think that girls on average start puberty earlier than men. So let's go for, I don't know, maybe 12, 11, 12, 13.
It's the Hayley Pierce Podcast.
Oh, well, thanks for today, girls. I know it's a bit of a taboo subject, but you've got to talk about these things now and again, especially, Sherelle, you're a mother, you've got a daughter, this is going to happen to your daughter, and it's, it's nice to know the future generation, maybe it won't be so stigmatised, this subject.
I agree.
Yeah.
We should all be chatting about it a bit more. I think it's bizarre that we're having this conversation now. It should be happening when we're teenagers, not chatting about stuff now, innit,
I agree.
But yeah, I do think it's really important to get people more educated so that everyone can feel more comfortable talking about periods and not embarrassed about buying sanitary products. Like, it's mental to think we all went through that stage in our life where we found it a bit, embarrassing, which is absolutely crazy. Because I do think it's the men that starts it off that makes us lot a little bit embarrassed, Bloody guys, eh?
Can't live with them, can't live without them.
Ah, that's the one. But yeah, thank you for today, guys. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to press subscribe, listen every single week. And if you have any stories or any messages about this that you'd like to share, then email me on hayley@bbc.co.uk. But yeah, we are here every single week. Have a fabulous day. Take care, everyone. All the best. Mwah.
See you.
Bye.
From BBC Sounds.
It's the